Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the SparkPlugs webinar series titled Extend the Influence of Your Marketing Campaigns. We're joined today by partners at GetSmartContent, a great company based out of Austin, Texas, that has some really cool technology around providing dynamic content to individuals and driving that. And obviously we're talking in the context of Eloqua and how the influence of their application can impact Eloqua. Just wanted to go through a couple of things today, and then we'll turn it over to our main speaker for the day. My name is David York. I'm the president of Sureshot Media. We are also the company that created SparkPlugs, which is a brand of apps that integrate into Eloqua. GetSmartContent is one of those apps. And I'm joined today by Chase Curtin, who's the director of client services for GetSmartContent. Hi, Chase.
Hey, how's it going, David?
Going good. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah,
so
thank you for having me.
Chase is going to do the majority of the presenting. Just a couple housekeeping items about the event. The first one is really important, and it's really just kind of how we like to do these events, is to keep them really concise and not fill it full of a lot of extra content that's going to bloat the presentation. So we like to keep these to about 30 to 40 minutes in length, so you can expect the event to take that long. And what that does is that really provides us as the presenters the onus to make our messaging very tight and clear and the content very valuable. We will have a Q&A time at the end of the presentation, and so there's a questions window on the GoToWebinars app that you can enter those in. You can enter those in at any time during the presentation, and then when we get to the Q&A section, we will answer those questions. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand the reins over to Chase, and then we will get started. So take it away, Chase.
Yeah, so this first slide really says it all about dynamic content. This is a little quip out of an Eloqua newsletter that they discuss that dynamic content improves conversion rates by 50%. I don't know one marketer out there that would not be head over heels by increasing conversion rates by 50%. It also has a good point that says not all marketers have integrated or incorporated a dynamic content as part of their marketing toolkit. But really those who have are just seeing a significant advantage over their peers who have not. So today we're going to discuss how smart content can influence the reach of your marketing efforts. So again, my name is Chase Curtin. I'm the Director of Client Services for GetSmartContent. GetSmartContent, again, is a dynamic messaging solution that allows you to serve targeted content any place on your website to be more relevant to the visitor. So for just a very quick example, if you can imagine going to a landing page, having a personalized experience on that landing page, whether it's a home page, a top landing page of a website, but a page that's just more engaging to you as a person, and how that can affect how you interact with that brand or that company based upon engaging them further, saying, yes, this company does care about what I'm looking for, and then ultimately saying, I'm not going to bounce and go back to a search engine. Yes, I will engage you further. So at a high level, our software allows you to serve dynamic content based upon your audience segments. So in the context of Eloqua, we like to talk today that email is a great tool. So email is a fantastic tool for segmenting and contacting leads with highly relevant content. And most, if not all of you, are using Eloqua for your marketing efforts and your lead nurturing efforts. And not to mention, allowing you to segment and contact leads with highly relevant content, but allowing you to keep your brand top of mind within that potential client's when they're in that purchasing phase of always keeping your brand top of mind. So as you can see in this next slide, relevant content drives higher engagement and click-through rates on email marketing campaigns at a significantly higher rate. So some of you are already personalizing the subject lines, and if your efforts reflect this graph, then you're seeing a substantial improvement in the open rate of those email campaigns. So this is, again, a graph provided by Eloqua, but if you can see by just putting the name of the person in the subject line, that the conversion rates increase at almost 5x compared to not. And then a customized personalization that you're looking at almost a 9% open rate. That is, I think everybody here would be happy if we could have a 9% open rate on our emails. However, as powerful as email marketing is, it fails to address one key aspect of consumer behavior. And that's customers are going to visit your website to research and make a purchasing decision when they are ready on their schedule. And we talk about this is that typically, especially in the B2B space, that the sales cycles are substantially longer, that person typically comes to your website, they take an action where they get wrapped into your email through Eloqua. So now you have information on this visitor. You're sending them highly relevant emails based upon what they've looked at, the white paper they've downloaded, anything, a video they may have watched about a product. But when that person is ready to come back and either take the next step in that process or make that purchasing decision, that person is typically aware of your brand now, and they come straight to the domain, right? So they don't come through the channels that you built for them. They say, well, I know this company's brand. I'm going to go to abc.com. And they come to your domain. As a marketer, typically we look at them and we think they're anonymous visitors because they did not come through one of the channels that we built, that we created for them to come through. So this is where dynamic content really gives the marketer the ability to extend the influence of their marketing campaigns. So as you can see here, 78% of B2B buyers go directly to the vendor's website. I mean, that's a huge percentage of people that are coming to your site that are coming direct. So this is where dynamic content fits in again. So GetSmartContent Cloud Connector addresses by personalizing your website for each lead, making it more relevant to the anonymous visitors above the funnel, getting those people into the funnel, and then more engaging for known leads. And just a quick example of this is, if you can imagine your homepage, your top landing page, if you knew the lead score of a visitor when they came to the site, or a segment that they fit into, or a form that they previously filled out, or if they're located in a target market, would you say something differently to that person? And the answer is yes, right? If I know the form that you filled out previously, I'm not going to ask you to take that action again. I'm going to ask you to take the next step in my funnel. If I know that you have a lead score of A1, well, what are the calls to actions I want you to see to get you to that next phase? So if you can imagine, every visitor comes to your homepage or a landing page, but they all have a personalized experience based upon just any data point that can be more relevant to that visitor. So that being said, the kind of one-size-fits-all website, I like to say, is dead. You know, people, your audience consists of segments of people who are driven by different interests and by different parts of your cross-channel marketing strategy, and you have to be relevant to them people, because otherwise, you know, they do now have the ability to go back to Google, to go look somewhere else. It's a lot more complicated these days to engage people. But that's why there's tools like dynamic content that you can use to say, hey, I'm relevant to visitor A, and I'm also relevant to visitor B, to visitor C. So GetSmartContent is, again, a content targeting solution that enables your company to provide content and messaging that is tailored to the user's interests. So again, to emphasize on that issue, dynamic content, where you typically have a static landing page, but think about the elements of that page that change, the calls to action on that page change, that main hero graphic area changes to be relevant to that visitor. So as a quick example of this, we talked about, without dynamic content, everyone sees the same homepage. So this is a quick example where somebody came, let's just say 3 different visitors come to the same homepage. One is searching for AMD APU-powered notebooks. So we know they fit into the typical home buyer. Somebody's previously been to a detailed view of a business product page. Well, guess what? Those people are primarily business shoppers. Versus if they came from a blog post that all they talk about is gaming products. Well, of course, those people, again, are a gamer. So in this instance, 3 people come to this page, but they all receive the same generic messaging. But with smart content, everyone gets a tailored homepage that's tailored to them. So now, as you can see, the AMD APU visitor gets a call to action based upon what they're probably looking for. And same as the gaming visitor, and same thing for the business product visitor. They all receive content that says, hey, we know this person is interested in gaming, so let's serve them a slideshow of our top gaming products. Chances are that it's going to be relevant to them, they're going to click on it, and now they're going to engage us in a lot more meaningful manner. So now we'll talk about personalization across the sales funnel. And at the very top, we talk about unknown visitors. So getting people into your nurture campaigns, into your Eloqua campaigns, or now that you can market them more effectively. So with unknown visitors, Smart Content's great at engaging people we consider at the top of the funnel. So based upon somebody's geolocation, if I know where you're located, maybe you're near a brick and mortar store that I have that I can communicate to you, or maybe you're in a specific state or country that if I know that information, I can communicate a more effective message. Or I know the keyword you just typed in that brought you here. So if we go look at our analytics, we know that there are specific keywords that people type in to get to specific landing pages. So if I know exactly what you typed into a search engine, when you come to my page, if it's around a specific product, offering, solution I have, well, of course, I'm going to engage you in that context. Your previous engagement. So any actions you've taken on our website that you have not engaged a call to action or a form that has wrapped you into our Eloqua CRM or database, but you've taken an action like looked at a detailed view of a product page. In that case, well, guess what? In your repeat visit, we're going to serve you again content that's relevant to your previous experience and try to get you into now the funnel. Same thing with mobile devices. So serving you content based upon the device type you're on, or the referring URL you just came from, your time, day, date, recency, frequency. So maybe you've been here 4 times in the last 2 days. Do you want to serve you a more targeted or strong call to action to get you to take that next step? And then social media properties that you may have came in on. And then, of course, any external data sources that you can that we can tie into. And one of those, of course, is demand base. So I think there's a webinar next week with demand base that you guys will probably be sitting on, where the integration with us in demand base now allows you to serve content based upon typically any demand based data. So industry, sub-industry, company size, how many employees, any of those attributes about that company. Extremely powerful information that if I could communicate a message to you knowing that, chances are I'm going to be more engaging to you and get you into now my sales process.
Yeah, Chase, I'll jump in here, Chase. So I wanted to make just a comment on this as well from our perspective, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, and I'll describe, I think everyone on the phone, at least, is probably an Eloqua customer or considering Eloqua, because this series is really targeted for those folks. Many of you have purchased Eloqua, or if you've purchased Eloqua, you did so because you kind of understand the story, right? You get the idea that doing more personalized, more relevant messaging is the reason why we get into marketing automation. We don't want to do just batch and blast emails with the same message to everyone. We want to trigger our campaigns based on the individual reactions or behaviors of that person, right? We want a nurturing campaign that's intelligent and it knows, did the person respond previously? And if they did, let's change the messaging. Or if they did this, we'll do that. And so that's really one of the cruxes of marketing automation is we want to get better at targeting our message. One of the things that we often have left out in this process is the whole concept of doing that type of personalization through our main website. And that's where this really becomes. And I'm not a real big product pitcher from a webinar standpoint, but I'll say this, and this is really where GetSmartContent comes into play and why we've really built such a great partnership with them, and we think that their application and the integration that we've built with Eloqua, it's kind of an exponential type of thing. So you think about what we're doing here and kind of thinking about the slides previously around what Chase has said, is that we drive people to landing pages or personalized URLs or forms based on a lot of different things. We're sending out emails. We're using social media. We're driving people to these different experiences. But that second, third, fourth time, they're going to come back to our website directly, right? And that's the statistics that Chase shared. 78% of people are going to come back. The value when we start talking about the integration with GetSmartContent and Eloqua is to say, within Eloqua, when they click through those emails or they come in, we know now when they're coming back to the website. We have all that information. Their visitor cookie is being tracked, and Eloqua is collecting all of that digital body language. And everyone who's become an Eloqua customer understands and gets that concept, because that's one of the key messages around the value of Eloqua and marketing automation. So why not have the capabilities to now leverage that digital body language to drive personalization, not just in an email, not just on a landing page, not just on a personalized URL, but drive that personalization on the home page of your website in a way that you could have never done that before. And that's really what we're talking about, is like taking all of the data and all of the value that you've got within Eloqua, all of that critical information, that tracking, the power of the tracking that's triggering different emails out, that's letting you segment based on people's behaviors. Now we can take all that information, build segments inside of Eloqua, and use that to drive a very highly personalized experience on the web. And that's really what the key to all this is. I'm sorry to interrupt, Chase, but I just wanted to reiterate that point, because I think that's a key message. And I've over the years, I've been in that position as a previous customer of Eloqua, and known that that's a huge kind of connection point, and it bridges the gap between all this great data that you're collecting in Eloqua and now your main website. So carry on. Sorry.
No, you definitely hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly the point. Is that typically people have all that data and they have specific channels that they can use it in, but then there's this whole other realm, which is typically the main website, that they never have the ability to use that data on. And that is really the strong point of something like dynamic content like GSC, where you can take that data and say, hey, even though this person didn't come through one of my channels, they just came to the website on their own, I want that person to have a personalized experience. I want to serve them relevant messaging that shows them that we care about what they care about, that we can just walk them down our path as efficiently as possible.
Exactly.
So what I was just iterating on was kind of the top of the funnel, where this is where you're typically collecting data, and then you think about most analytic tools. You look at that data, and you say, okay, that's great. I know the top geos. I know top referring URLs. I know keywords or engagement. And then, in the past, you'd look at that data and you'd maybe build out a page, or you'd do something that hopefully would affect that. But in reality, most of the time you have a meeting, you'd sit there and talk about it, and nothing would happen. So at that top of the funnel, that's where dynamic content is really effective. Is you don't have to have a board meeting now. You just create a rule that says, hey, if I know where you're at, I'm going to serve you a message based upon that. And you, the marketer, have the ability to do that. So at the top of the funnel, it's extremely powerful. That second point is, of course, all that data that you've collected from Eloqua. So email interactions. Somebody might have opened an email that took them to a specific landing page on your site, but they didn't take an action right then and there. But again, they came back to their site now, to your site, a week later on their own. In that instance, we still know all that information based upon them opening that email or clicking through to that link. So now we just, again, reiterate that message that you're trying to drive home to that individual. And then lead score, what we talked about earlier, just, what is your lead score, your nurture mode? I know there's variables. Well, I know typically what calls to action I would like to present in front of you, whether, again, it's a white paper download or a form submission or maybe a tutorial video that you should probably watch. And then any other data on the visitor. And then,
yeah, great concept here. Sorry, jumping in again. I'm getting this topic just gets me, jazzed up to think about, because what if you could say, and this is an example, you know, companies are spending a lot of time and energy working on nurturing tracks and having the best content they can in that nurturing track to send to individuals. But what if you're nurturing them, and then when the person comes to your homepage on your website, the same messaging that they're getting in the nurturing track appears on the homepage in the, you know, in the banner image at the top, right? I mean, that's really what we're talking about, is being able to say we can make the messaging of every piece of our marketing connect to one another. And because we know in Eloqua that they're in this receiving this nurturing message, we could have the same messages, even the same images if you wanted to, appear on the homepage when they arrive. That just takes things to a whole nother level from my perspective.
Yeah, and the great part about that is you can be so proactive about it that you just set your homepage up with dynamic content, and it's just sitting and waiting. There's nothing you have to do then. You put it on there, and it sits and waits, and it just waits for that visitor to come. And when that visitor does come, then then that page changes to be relevant to that person. But if you can imagine it, it's just, I like to think of kind of the analogy when you walk into, you know, I just recently bought a car, and it's kind of a bad analogy used by a car dealership because people usually have kind of a negative connotation. But you know, when you walk into a car dealership, you don't have to go around and search. You don't have to go look for people. Typically, people address you, meet you at the door, and then almost walk you down that path. And that's what smart content is, right? And it's kind of like a concierge service. It just greets you at the door, that door being the homepage, and then just walks you down the path that's most efficient, most relevant for you. So, and then at the end of the day, A/B testing. A/B testing is such a huge part of segmentation and being able to serve dynamic content. Because at the end of the day, even if we know your lead score, what emails you've opened up, your geolocation, any attribute, you know, sometimes we still don't know what the most effective messaging is, right? So if I know your lead score, well then why not A/B test, you know, 5 different calls to action around that lead score, and to see, hey, well, guess what? People that are in lead score A1, here's the content they resonate with the best. Or people that you know, are from this geographic location, here's the content that they find most interesting. So A/B testing is extremely powerful. And one of the things about, you know, dynamic content, the testing capabilities that's really interesting is that we see a lot of times where people will start out just generic A/B testing, saying, I'm going to A/B test 50% of my traffic A, 50% of my traffic B, if I don't know anything better to communicate to you. And then I'm going to A/B test within our segments of traffic. So I'm going to A/B test people that I know their lead score, their nurture mode, to see what content's most effective. And then after that, I'm going to A/B test possibly the path that somebody takes to my goal conversion to see what path is a path of least resistance to get people there the most as efficiently as possible. So if you can imagine how powerful that gets, not only are you optimizing the content, but you're also optimizing the path that person takes to get to the goal that you want them to get to. And then at the end of the day, you know, it's all about measuring performance. So if you can't measure it, then you know, you can't report it. And if you can't report it, then typically you're not going to get dollars to invest in it. So measuring performance is extremely important, whether it's you know, measuring increase in form submissions, increase in email signups, increase in actual conversions. A lot of times we look at analytics and at Site Catalyst, and we look at reports, and we see that they're very content heavy. They really focus on how the web page is doing, or how the content on the page is doing. Well, we kind of look at that at a different view. We look at how are people interacting with that web page, and not how are people, but how are your specific audience segments interacting with that web page, or how are your specific audience segments interacting with a goal of yours. And that really starts to give us some granularity into okay, what is the most effective marketing tactic for this segment of traffic versus this other segment. And at the core of that, it just gets extremely, that information gets extremely valuable. So How to get started today? You know, one of the things that's extremely important that we talked about, and I think slide 8 was just starting out personalizing the subject lines of your emails. So, you know, it's not as easy, right? It's not as easy to go into your backend and have to segment traffic out. But guess what? The returns are, as you can see from that graph, are typically tenfold. And the second is pulling reports on specific segments of traffic that are coming to your site. So looking at your top landing pages and saying, okay, well, if I could just impact people that came from this specific keyword or that were in this in this nurture mode, then, you know, what if I could just improve the performance of that segment of people? You know, how many people could I impact? And the third is we have a free opportunity report that ties into your analytics that allows you to see who are the top underperforming segments of traffic that are coming to your site that you have the greatest ability to interact with, to engage. At the end of the day, again, Smart Content is a dynamic testing and targeting solution. Allows you to just drastically improve your marketing efforts. Now we can move on to questions.
All right, so we're going to open it up to Q&A. If anyone has any questions, we've got some time here. We can please go ahead and enter those in the questions panel, and we'll get those answered for you. I'll wait a couple minutes to see if we have any questions from the audience, and then we can wrap up today's call. All right. Apparently, Chase, you did such a good job that you blew everybody's mind, and there's no questions coming in. So just to wrap up, a couple key points here, and we can talk about the last part of this. So as I mentioned earlier, we are the company that created the SparkPlugs apps for Eloqua. We've got a very large number of apps and a lot of great partners with these apps. One of the things that's important to note about these is these are really designed to increase your Eloqua investment. So in thinking about Eloqua, you spend a very large amount of money on Eloqua. Most of our apps are pale in comparison from a cost perspective to what you probably spent on Eloqua, but they're really designed to help you maximize the value of that investment, and that's really the whole idea here. We have apps that are focused on data, marketing channels, content marketing, such as GetSmartContent, and we have some apps around event marketing. And definitely encourage you to check out GetSmartContent and the app that they provide as well. We've got upcoming webinars. So this upcoming Thursday, we've got clean data and making the data washing machine more efficient with demand base. And then on Valentine's Day, we've got a special webinar, Falling in Love with Email Hygiene, 10 Tips to Implement Now. So again, thanks everyone for your time today. We appreciate it. Happy to have been able to spend this time with you and sharing some of the new things that you can do and how you can really engage your audience more effectively using dynamic content and really get more value out of your marketing campaigns. So thanks everyone for joining in, and we hope you have a good week.